Good evening, everyone. We would like to call the Board of Supervisors meeting to order Thursday, July 9th. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and
to the
the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with
liberty,
liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if we could have a moment of silence for all our, for everyone serving this great nation, past and present. Thank you very much. Okay, good evening, everyone. Another virtual meeting. We'll get started, get through the business of the township as quickly as possible. So we'll start with announcements. I just want to announce there was an executive session on June 30th to discuss union negotiations. And that's about all I have, and I'll go around the room here. I see Mark. How about we start with you?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of announcements. I want to give a shout out to our friend Sam over at the Fuge. As we all know, Sam's the mayor over at the Fuge. He's taking quite a beating through this crisis that he's not able to run his business. However, as he is, he opened up an ice cream shop over there. Takeout there where they're making their own ice cream. And I took my date over there on the 4th. We had some ice cream, and it's really terrific. So try to give Sam a play. If you're in the neighborhood, the ice cream was great too. Good luck with that, Sam. I also want to thank the Brad Fox Foundation. They awarded me as a small business pitcher here in Warminster with a really nice Eagles sign and plaques. I want to thank Thomas and Kathy Fox and Darren Means for that as well. You know, I do go out of my way to support local business. I also want to give a shout out to Brett Schuster. Congratulate him on his 9th birthday today. I saw that it's his birthday today. Greg, I hope you get home early too. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. We hope everyone gets home early. Well, we're all home, but we hope to get through this quickly.
And Mr. Chairman,
if I could, next,
Mr. Chairman, if I could, we're getting some background noise, so if I could remind everyone to keep yourself on mute unless you're speaking, I think that'll help out a little bit.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Judy? I
Judy,
think
you're
you're
on mute.
on mute, Judy. All right, while we're waiting for Judy to, how about we go to Kathy?
She's on mute too, but she said no comment.
No comment.
Okay, Mary?
No, I do not have any announcements right now. Thank you.
Okay.
I unmuted. I finally unmuted. I have no special announcements except that they are still taking census reports. So please, people, answer the door when the census or answer the phone for the census taker. It's important. Okay.
All right, thank you. Anyone, did I miss anyone? I don't think so. Okay. No presentations. I don't believe we have any land use matters or public hearings.
Excuse me,
Ordinance?
Ken. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Ken. You missed Mary.
No, Mary didn't have any comments.
Oh,
I
okay. I'm
believe.
sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So now we can go to public comment. And before we get into public comment, I want to remind the residents, they may not know this, they may or may not be aware of this. But all your public comments for these meetings when they're being held virtual need to be submitted to publiccomment@warminsterpa.org. And please include your name and your address. We cannot read your public comments without your name, address, and have it sent to publiccomment@warminsterpa.org. Thank you. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Schuster.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 2 public comments that have been received this evening. As you said, people should email public comment at warminsterpa.org. They can do that throughout the meeting as I'll be monitoring it and can read them off to the board. The first public comment is from Rosaria Giorla, 964 Worthington Drive. She writes, why is Mark McGee not being held accountable for the disgusting, inappropriate remarks made regarding his dangerous to shoot the looters? I'm also deeply concerned about his Twitter account attacking fellow board members with below-the-belt comments regarding their personal affairs. This wonderful community is an example for our families, respect for unity and growth. Mr. McGee is inappropriate and speaks as though he is a thug, not a township leader. Warminster deserves our very best. Please read this aloud at the upcoming July meeting. I want answers to his loose remarks and vile cyber attacks. The second comment received is from Lena Chero, 43 Chestnut Road. Dear members of the board and Supervisor Schuster, I got promoted, I guess. My name is Lena Chero, and I thank you in advance for your attention to this message and for all you do to improve the lives of all citizens in Warminster. I send this message to ask the board, township government, and our police department to reinforce or modify the fireworks ordinance. I know that other townships actually penalize individuals who do not adhere to the current ordinance, creating additional revenue. Fireworks have become almost a daily occurrence in our area, and when the police is called, there is not much done, opening the door to even more mayhem and louder explosions around the township. Unfortunately, what these companies sell nowadays are not the traditional fireworks of years ago, but bomb-like explosives similar to what you hear in war zones, which not only create a sense of chaos all around, but bigger trauma to people with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, small children, the elderly, domestic and non-domestic animals. Additionally, what people may not realize is these fireworks are made of damaging chemicals contaminating our air. I wonder if they realize how sick they may feel in the days following their firework rampage, or maybe they confuse them with hangovers. I do appreciate our police department and their efforts to keep us safe. I just feel abandoned when it comes to this subject. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We will, we appreciate your comments and we will take them under advisement. Anyone else have a comment for any of the public comment?
The only thing that I'd like to comment is on the fireworks, because they were out of control this year, worse than they've ever been. And I know that all over Pennsylvania and other states, they were having the same exact problem. I guess people are bored, but we need to do something about it because it really was out of control. Thank you.
I have a comment too, Mr. Chairman, on that note.
Sure.
The previous board, Ms. Frescatore, you were involved as well, that we actually petitioned the governor and our local representatives about the legalization of fireworks. You know, perhaps we need to reach out to them again. I know it's only symbolic, but you know, the legalization of these explosives is just opened the floodgates for this. It's really frightening.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can certainly reach out to our representatives and the governor in Harrisburg and ask them again to reconsider. Or I don't believe we're allowed to have a separate ordinance, are we?
So I'll give you a little bit of history. So a couple years ago, Mr. McKee is correct, we did send that letter in. That's because Pennsylvania did change the law, allowing the sale of these higher caliber fireworks to residents. Previously, it was non-residents only. That did open the floodgates. However, as part of that law, there was also a few things passed which restricted the use of these fireworks. There's a couple of things such as it can't be used within 150 feet of a structure or a house. It also needs the property owner's permission. And we don't give any permission for anyone to use public property. Essentially, that makes almost all of Warminster off limits to using these type of fireworks. So there's really no more legislation that's needed to go ahead and take action. I would encourage anyone to call the police when this occurs. They will come out and enforce it. I asked the chief prior to the meeting. and they did receive about 30 calls between July 1st and the 5th on fireworks. So please call the police and they'll come to address it. I believe you could pass some an ordinance in the ordinances to deal with this, particularly with the sale of these, because right now there is no one in Warminster selling these high caliber fireworks. That could put some restrictions on that. But any other ordinance that you put in place to go ahead and restrict the use of fireworks would almost be redundant because they pretty much are illegal in this sense.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Can everyone please mute their microphones when they're not, there's a lot of background noise. That's much better. Thank you. Did you have something to add, Scott?
Yeah, I'll just say everything Mr. Schuster said is correct. The state of the current law, there isn't too much in the way that's not prohibited in the law already that the township needs to add on top of. It's difficult to enforce the law as it's written in the way it's written. It's so hard for the police to go out there. This is happening throughout the Commonwealth. It's, I spent 5 years in Allentown. This happened when I was in right away. It was going to be almost impossible to enforce because by the time the police get the call, they get out there, the people are dispersed. There's no one around. The fireworks are gone, or they're not setting them off. So the only way for this to, resolution would be for some sort of change in the state level law.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Okay, so first round of public comment being over, we'll move on to the consent agenda. And Mr. Schuster, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight's consent agenda is as follows. Item A is approval of the minutes from your June 4th meeting. Item B would be approval of a proclamation recognizing Robert Lucat, who's about to obtain the rank of Eagle Scout. Item C is the Centennial School District Multipurpose Grass Field at 433 Centennial, release number 3 from escrow in the amount of $8,044.81 as recommended by the engineer. Item D is 1270 Mearns Road, release number 7 from escrow in the amount of $21,330 as recommended by the engineer. Item E is 222 Norristown Road, land development, release number 9 final from escrow in the amount of $23,320.80, condition upon the Norristown Road pavement markings being completed to the satisfaction of the township as recommended by the engineer. Item F is Wendy's, 813 East County Line Road, release number 4 from escrow in the amount of $16,575.30 as recommended by the engineer. Item G is a change order related to the 2020 roadway milling contract. This is strictly a time extension for 30 days related to delays from COVID. Item H is a change order number 1 for the curb ramp installation contract to adjust the estimated curb quantity and related unit price. This is actually a price decrease by almost $11,000. I believe the engineer was able to do some design changes that reduced the amount of concrete that was needed. Item I is approval of the Accident and Illness Prevention Program Manual. We are required to have this by Pennsylvania Labor and Industry. We previously, most municipalities used the one that was provided by our insurance carrier, Divot, but now L&I has decided that we all need to adopt individual ones, so we are simply adopting the one that is recommended by Divot. Item J is approval of change of all Township Department wireless services from Verizon to T-Mobile. I want to thank Larry Deragopian, who really worked at this and found some decent savings, about $8,000 per year by switching over our services, which also includes the mobile terminals in the police cruisers, which take up quite a bit of bandwidth from Verizon to T-Mobile, who does a promotion for some government employees and government services. So again, that savings would be approximately $8,000 per year. Item K is an agreement with USA Technologies for a credit processing machine. This would be for the driving range. so people can just go ahead without in there and then go ahead and get the small or large bucket of balls for the driving range without going into the pro shop. This just makes it very much more convenient for them, as well as limiting personal contact, which we're trying to do. Item L is an MOU with Warminster Heights Homeowners Association. This is an annual agreement that we do with them. We do additional patrols there on their behalf, and they do reimburse us for both of our salary, wages, and all the benefit costs all rolled into that. Item M, we got word that the MOU, which we're working out with Centennial School District, which is also a regular MOU that we have done, has not yet been fully reviewed. And so I'm going to request that item M be pulled from the consent agenda. Item N would be Resolution 2020-24, designated our Emergency Management Coordinator as the agent for COVID-19 pandemic. This is essentially naming Joe Velton as the person who can apply for reimbursements for any of the COVID-19 expenses that we have incurred. And item O would be Resolution 2020-25, appointing a liaison between Warminster Township and Berkheimer. Berkheimer is one of our tax collectors, and with the departure of our finance director, this would be appointing the interim finance director as the liaison. Liaison that are appointed are able to view some of the data, some of which is obviously confidential, and we don't want that everyone out there to have it, so it's restricted to certain people. So that is the consent agenda this evening. Happy to answer any questions. If not, the appropriate motion would be to adopt the consent agenda with the exception of item M.
Okay, well, the only comment I have is it's actually nice to see some savings, about $19,000, and congratulations to Robert Lucott for attaining his Eagle Scout. That's quite an achievement. We're very sorry that you could not come into the township building in person, but we're certainly commending you for your achievement. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Motion to adopt.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any other comments? Questions? Being none, I'll call the question. Kathy?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Judy? Looked like an aye. Mark?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So agenda motion passes 5-0. Okay. Finance report. I guess that's Mr. Schuster again.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have the treasurer's report, and so I would respectfully ask for a motion to approve the supplemental bill list dated June 26, 2020, in the amount of $2,505,395.05, as well as the bill list dated June 18, 2020, in the amount of $568,792.63.
Okay,
Motion.
I'm sorry?
I said I'd like to motion to approve that.
I'll
Okay.
second it. I'll
Any
second
question-
it, Ken.
Any questions or comments? Okay, being none, we'll call the question. Kathy? Mary?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, no unfinished business that I'm aware of.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, you did skip the financial statement if you wanted me to go over that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You do have the May draft financial statement in your packet. The information I'm about to talk about is current through May. Just talking about the revenues, because I know everyone is very concerned about that and the impacts of the pandemic. We are seeing real estate taxes to be relatively steady. We did expect this. It's a very stable source. We did see some softening of payroll taxes in May, but we are actually seeing them rebound in June, to the point where the collections we have now actually exceed this point last year. We have a lot of theories why. We're not 100% sure. We're a little confounded by this, but those payroll taxes seem to be up. Transfer taxes are down. That was expected, as there was a lot of delays or a lot of transactions that didn't occur. The real estate market is now opened up, so it'll be interesting to see if these transfer taxes are actually gone, if we're not going to get them, or if they were just delayed. It'll probably be a combination of both. Business privilege tax and mercantile tax are relatively on pace. However, we don't believe we've yet caught up to where we take a hit from the initial shutdown due to the pandemic. We do believe that those two taxes are going to be severely impacted because when all those businesses shut down, that's definitely going to impact their revenues. Fire inspection fees are down significantly. That's because there was a delay in the start of that program. And we not sure, we've had, again, have some theories about this one. We're not sure why, but the cable franchise fees are up about 15%, which is quite significant. Again, we have some theories why, but we don't know exactly. So we're really seeing some unusual things here, and I'm sure by the end of the year we'll have some clarity about why some of these numbers are coming in the way they are. But the good news is it is not the doom and gloom scenario that we had feared. That being said, we still have a ways to go to see how this ends. And over at the, I'm not going to go through the other funds because they're pretty much on par. Gulf Fund, we're still watching carefully. I can report that although this was the May report, they had an incredibly strong June with their rounds of golf. They have a rebound pretty well. So you have the report. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah. Somebody
I
said
do.
yes?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
No, I'm growing a little concerned with the rising soft cost with this project. I did speak to Mr. Schuster about it today. We are on target for bid opening soon. The end of the month.
Yeah, the bid opening is on the 27th, I believe.
And then there's processes that have to take place after that before the final bid's awarded.
Correct. You'll get a recommendation. If the board is inclined, you can award a bid at your August meeting. At that point, we would go through and make sure that there is compliance with everything in the bid as well as the responsible contractor ordinance. Then at the September meeting, the board would vote again to do a final approval of that, and we can move forward.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to voice my concern with the rising soft cost. That was all.
Yeah.
All right. No unfinished business. We'll go on to new business. Greg?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. With the departure of the finance director, he was also the township treasurer, so he did vacate that position. There's going to be, looks like a little bit of a switcheroo. So the first item under new business, item A, is consider appointment of township secretary. We did receive the resignation of Ms. Owens as township secretary. So that position is vacant for you to fill.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schuster. Do we have a nomination for township secretary?
I would like to nominate Mary Owens for township secretary. I'm sorry, for Judy Hoover for township secretary.
Second?
I second that.
Any questions or comments? Okay, being none. Somebody say something? Okay, being none, then we'll call the question. Mary?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And does Judy vote in this?
Yes.
Yeah, Judy?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. Okay,
Congratulations, Judy.
congratulations.
Thank you.
You'll do a great
You've
job
been
with that.
switched. So we'll move on to the appointment of Township Treasurer.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that position is currently vacant. And unlike the secretary position, whoever you're going to appoint to that position, and I double check with the solicitor, I believe should abstain. That position does have a salary with it, which I believe could pose an ethics violation if that person voted on their own nomination. Am I correct on that, Scott?
Yes, it is a decision for the person who is being nominated to make on their own. Obviously, we can't counsel any specific person on whether they need to take the conflict of interest as we represent the township. But yes, it is something for them to consider, and that it is possible for them to abstain in this vote.
Okay, thank you. So do we have a nomination for treasurer?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Mary Owens.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any comments or questions?
Comment, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Marion, I'm not being a smartass. I'd be glad to vote for you. I just want to make sure, can you get bonded?
Yes,
Fair
I would have no issue or problem being bonded.
You have my vote, and good luck with the position.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Mary, I guess we'll call the question. So we'll start with Kathy.
aye, and congratulations.
Judy,
Aye, congratulations.
Mark,
Aye, and I don't know if it's congratulations or condolences, but congratulations, Mary.
that's right. Mary, I'll ask you.
So this is where I'm supposed to abstain, correct?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah, I will abstain.
Okay, and the chair votes aye, and congratulations or condolences, depending on how you look at it.
Thank you.
All right. All right, moving on, Mr. Schuster.
Mr. Chairman, item number C, there is a vacancy, alternate position on the Planning Commission. This has gone unfilled since reorganization. There were 3 applications received since this vacancy occurred. They're all in your packet. That is for you to appoint one this evening for a term to expire December 31st, 2021.
Okay, so do we have a nomination for?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Jim Crossan for the alternate position on the planning board.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Richard Luce.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, being no second. So what's that leave me, Greg, with just one nomination?
Correct, one nomination.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Yes, comment, Mr. Chairman, please.
Go ahead.
I brought this up at reorg and nominated Richard Luce, who was a former chairman of that committee, former member of that committee, former chairman of the Board of Supervisors, registered architect, and longtime servant of this township. That he can't even get a second or is not even considered for an appointment as an alternate, I think is purely partisan politics. It has nothing to do with Jim Crossan. I'm going to vote for Jim Crossan. I think Jim's a heck of a nice guy, and Jim is very qualified for this board. But, I brought it to Ms. Frescator's attention in January. I was told that people on that board have a problem with Mr. Luce. I called everyone on that board, including the professionals that service that board, and not one person could tell me that they had a problem with Mr. Luce. That leads me back to this is partisan politics. And I think it's pretty sad, because the 3 years that I sat in your chair, Mr. Hayes, I was more than glad to vote for people on the other side of the aisle. And you all know that. And it cost me personally dearly. To not consider this man for this, I think, is a disgrace. But no offense to Jim Crossan whatsoever. And Jim, you have my vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I have a comment, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, if you look at all the appointments that we made on the boards this year, Mark, we appointed people on both sides of the aisle based on their qualifications, or if you want somebody new. Jim is an architect, he brings something new to the board. So we did do on both sides of the aisle. And just like we did when you were the chair, we did the same exact thing. So it has nothing to do with Mr. Luce.
Well, I think it does. And to not second someone, not to second his nomination is a courtesy, When we had a 4-1 board and Mr. Feinberg was in my position, we always had the courtesy to second nominations, always. And I just think as a courtesy could have been done to Richard Luce, a man that has served this township for many, many years. And by the way, Rich, if you're watching, thank you for your years of service in this town.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Luce, for your service. And it's my understanding that Jim Crossan is a licensed architect as well. So everyone was
Call
qualified.
the question.
Go ahead.
Call the question.
Okay. All right. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Mark?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. Okay, moving on, Mr. Schuster.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item D under new business is consider engagement with Curtin Hefner LLP for bond counsel services. As you're aware, between the park project, which is going to need some short-term finances, and the possible acquisition of Shenandoah Woods, we're going to be looking to do some financing. Bond counsel is required for that. I did reach out to the solicitor. He recommended Curtin Hefner specifically. Bucky Klosser. His proposal is in the packet for you to consider this evening.
Okay, thank you. So we will motion to consider engaging Curtin Hefner for bond counsel. Is it-
Motion, Mr. Chair.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, so we'll call the question. Mr. McKee, because you're the one I see on my screen.
I'm an aye.
Okay. Mary,
Aye.
Kathy,
Aye.
Judy,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion passes 5-0. Okay. Mr. Schuster.
Item E under new business is 1175 West Street Road access easement. There's no specific action we're requesting this evening other than to have an initial discussion. This is a gentleman that's explained in the memo in the packet that wants to use an existing pathway on the golf course property to obtain access to Lavera. Currently, he has access out on the street road and he crosses two other parcels. It's just incredibly inconvenient for him. He is landlocked. He's willing to bear all the expenses to go ahead and do this. But before we went ahead and did anything, we wanted to see if the board had any concerns or objections before giving him the green light. If you're okay with this, we would establish an escrow. He would do all the legwork. It would be appropriately reviewed and then brought to you for approval of these.
Okay.
Question?
Yes.
The question is, I'd like to ask our engineer and our solicitor, is there any problem that they see with this particular issue going forward?
I'll jump in first. We had a staff meeting. They presented what they wanted to do. I believe the staff was all in consensus, and that's why you have it before you tonight. That the first step would be to simply get your approval for that driveway to be located on your property, and then I don't see any issues with it. I think it's actually safer for the residents of that property to not access Street Road. It's a dangerous situation. I believe this was brought up many years ago and never formalized. So I have no engineering issues with it all. Our only involvement will be reviewing a legal description in preparation of any agreements that Scott prepares.
Thank you, Craig. And Scott, do you have do you see any issues with it?
No, likewise, we don't see any of the issues from
Okay.
the legal side. This is just an access easement. It's if I'm correct, there's like a stone pathway that's already along the outside edge of the property. It's not going to interfere within the golf course. It's I just played there a couple of weeks ago. Mr. McKee can testify that, this is pretty far away from any golf holes, so it's not going to interfere with anything operationally in the golf course.
You played over there and you didn't call me?
It was my dad who got me to play, so
Right.
he had a friend set it up, so
Right. Call me next time.
I will.
Thank you, Scott. I think it's a good idea, especially considering Mr. Kennard's comments about it being safer to have that easement in there. So I trust our professionals, and I think it's a good idea.
So the two figures that are in the packet, they're kind of cut off. They don't show particularly where this is. Is this that gravel road that I see in the aerial image to the west?
Yes. Yeah, my understanding is that was a temporary access put in there to deal with the bridge at one point, and it's just remained there.
Okay. Well, I would have to agree with Kathy, with our professionals. That's what they're here for. Anyone else have anything well, we didn't, should we call the question?
There is no motion, and there's really no need for motion.
Yeah, absolutely, you're correct, right.
If it's a consensus of the board to move forward,
Right.
we'll go through with the review process. He'll post an escrow, and after that, once everything's finalized, we would bring it to you for.
Okay. Well, I personally don't have any opposition. Anyone else?
No.
Okay. All right, moving on.
All right, next item under new business is item F. Consider the award of Lewis Drive and Street Road Improvement Green Light Go bid. This will be bid number 2020-04 to Armour and Sons. A little bit of a story on this one. The lowest bidder was actually disqualified as they did not bid on the full project. The second lowest bidder was obviously higher, and under different circumstances, we may actually have decided the best thing to do is to go out to rebid. However, the PennDOT has said that they have pulled the funding for Green Light Go grants due to the economic issues that is going on. After discussions with them and based on the fact that we've already expended some money on this grant, they have said that they are willing to go ahead and honor this grant. So by moving forward, we would hold on to that funding. The bottom line is we would have to pay an additional about $11,000 that we weren't expecting. Previously, we wouldn't have paid anything. All of our contribution would have been through in-kind labor. So the decision that is before us is we just not do anything and just not, or the grant, let it go away. Because if we go out to rebid, then the funding will disappear. Or do we just say it's a project that between in-kind labor and materials is worth about $99,000? Are we willing to go ahead and pay $11,000 out of pocket to continue and fulfill that project? We feel that paying that $11,000 is getting good value for the money for the whole project. Additionally, if the board is concerned about where that money is going to come from because it hasn't been budgeted, there has been some money identified as part of the Roseburg Donuts HOP approval. PennDOT did require them to give the township $16,000 for road and traffic improvement projects. That has no other restrictions on that. We could use those funds for the approximately $11,000.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Schuster, Armour Electric, they do a substantial amount of work with our signalization anyway, correct?
Oh, yeah, we work with them. They're well known in the area. Lots of municipalities use them.
And just to add up to that point, the low bid only bid on a part of the package, so there's no guarantee that they would have been the low bid anyway.
Right.
And Armour was the second lowest bid, correct?
Correct.
And that was for the full package, and we have funds available.
If you want to redirect those $16,000 and use that, that's certainly an area, but yes.
Right. And the biggest issue here is that Street Road is a mess, traffic wise. And, it definitely needs some improvements, whether through signal control and other things. You know, on a normal day, no matter what day it is, unless it's at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, you can't get from one end of the township to the other, which is not that long, in less than a half hour.
Right.
So it's, I think it's money well spent if, in fact, we see improvements on Street Road.
It'll definitely improve by putting the Wavetronic system in there. We are expanding our existing system. It'll definitely be an improvement. However, I don't want to overpromise. It's not going to make traffic flow like, you know, smooth as butter, but any little thing that we can do to help the traffic on Street Road is going to be a worthwhile investment.
Yes.
I agree, Greg. I think any improvement at this point is welcomed. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's, should we call the question?
I don't believe there was a motion yet. The motion would be to award the bid to Armour and Sons.
Yes, okay. So, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to offer the bid to Armour and Sons.
I'll second.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, so let's call the question. Mr. McKee?
I'm an aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, and last but not least.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item G under new business is consider the award of a consortium fuel bid 2021, which is bid 2020-05 to Petroleum Traders Corporation. This is our annual bid that we do through the Bucks County Consortium. This would be awarded to the low bid for unleaded regular and ultra low sulfur diesel.
Okay, is there a motion to award the consortium fuel bid?
Oh,
Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, we'll call the question. Mary?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much for getting through the business of the township and quickly, we'll put it that way. Okay, professional reports. Mr. Schuster?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have my written report in case any of you have any questions. A few things that I will mention. First of all, I think some of you have seen on social media what our police department has posted from an officer the other day. That was Officer Angove, who chased down a fleeing suspect on foot. It's quite a remarkable video as you see him going through backyards, hurling fences, and do all that in this heat with all that equipment and gear on was quite remarkable. I just want to thank him for putting that extra effort in and apprehending that fleeing suspect. There have been quite a bit of issues in different areas with people breaking into cars and such. I just want to remind everyone, lock your cars, lock your houses. It's just common sense stuff. So please do that. And again, thank you to Officer Angove and the rest of the Warminster Police for everything that you do. Second, it's already been touched on earlier about the census. Just remind everyone to keep on with that. If you haven't already responded, please do. Fortunately, in Bucks County, we're doing very well in our response rate. We want to keep that up, so please continue that. And lastly, just a pandemic update in our operations. So all of our departments are reopened. We are still encouraging people to not come to the offices and to call ahead. We'll see if we can service you over the phone or over email, but our offices have reopened. There are different protocols in place, so we ask that everyone wear a mask per the governor's orders and follow any other guidelines that are out there. Our library has reopened the week of curbside service, and now there's actually service in the library. Again, wear the masks, follow all the guidelines. We're doing everything we can to service the public. We realize everyone's been cooped up in their house and they want to get out. They want to go to the library. They want to go to the park. So we're doing our best to keep everything open and safe at the same time. In general, we are doing pretty well compared to the rest of the country when you look at our caseload in Bucks County. We still have plenty of ICU, hospital bed capacity. Everyone in Bucks County, I really think, should be proud of what's been accomplished here. What we don't want to do, though, is go backwards. We have seen in other areas of the country premature rolling back of restrictions and some of the consequences that has had. So please, everyone follow the guidelines. We're doing this for a reason. We don't want to have to see ourselves roll backwards and have additional restrictions or additional closures put in place. So let's keep the progress going that we've achieved so far. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schuster. Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have our report attached. Obviously, some of the matters are confidential, covered by client privilege. But if there are any questions you may have, any matters, I can answer them to the best of my ability here, or we could talk offline. I would just like to reiterate what Mr. Schuster said with regards to, as we're easing now into the green phase and things are opening up and businesses and it's nice outside and recreation centers are opening up. Follow the guidelines, follow the protocols, because we are seeing benefit here that we're not increasing like other places in the country. So just to reiterate everything Mr. Schuster says, and I thank you. If you have any questions, I can entertain them.
I just wanted to comment on Mr. Schuster's comments about the COVID-19 and how well Pennsylvania as a whole is doing really well. And in Bucks County, we did it right. We took the problem and we did all the restrictions that we needed to do, closing the libraries, the schools, the parks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People wore masks, people stayed quarantined, and you can see by the numbers that we're doing it right. So we just need to keep doing what we're doing. Be cognizant of your neighbors, wear your mask when you're in groups, and wash your hands regularly. And we're doing it right, so keep doing it. Thank you so much to everybody who has done a good job.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Scott. And Mr. Kennard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Schuster already mentioned about the Warminster Community Park bid opening for July 27th. Hopefully you'll be awarding that project at your August 6th meeting. Also, we've already touched on the curb ramp program and your change order. I was advised today that the curb ramps will be finished today or tomorrow at the latest, and then the milling of the roads will start sometime next week. I would also like to thank Aaron Van Hock from my office, along with Eric Hines. I know those two have been working to save some money, as Greg mentioned. I believe there might be another $9,000 to $10,000 savings at the end of the project. So all in all, it sounds like Aaron's comfortable that there'll be a 20% savings on your road program this year based on communications with Public Works, working with our office to make field changes on the fly. So I'm happy to report that. The only two land development projects that you'll be seeing at your August 6th meeting will be hopefully the Aldi project, grocery store at 260 East Street Road. They'll be seeking preliminary final, and then also a waiver of land development, which is the Bank of America ATM machine, simply just a walk-up ATM machine at the parking lot across from Orange Bishop Wood along York Road. They need to clean up some items before they come in front of the board at your August 6th meeting for a waiver of land development approval. And that's all you have, Mr. Chairman. All I have, Mr. Chairman. I'll answer any questions.
Craig, I have one question for you, and I don't know if it should be directed to anybody else, but I've gotten some requests from residents with Steak and Shake being closed. A lot of people are asking for Popeye's chicken. So, is there any way we can?
Actually, Kathy, funny you ask. I'm not sure if it's public yet, but that's what's coming in.
Yay!
They are in the middle of finishing up the sales right now. I've been in contact with the broker for the seller of the building, and he did tell me yesterday that it's Popeyes is what is
Oh,
purchasing.
that's awesome. Everybody's gonna be doing the happy dance, and it's really good chicken too, because I've tried it.
And their biscuits are phenomenal.
You get what you want this time too.
Yep.
Well, hopefully, everything works out for the best. Okay, we'll go to item 10, Township Manager announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could just give a little bit of advice to Amanda. Next time you say, well, we're going to work on that, and you come to the next meeting and say, we got Popeyes. That's how you do it. You're coming with a big win.
That's right.
We try. Sometimes we get a win. This week we got a win.
All right.
As for upcoming agenda items, if there's no objection, we'll cancel the July 16th meeting.
No objection.
No objections.
Never has been.
Objection.
As far as the other stuff, as usual, Mr. Kennard stole my thunder with the land use stuff and the park bid. And last thing that is listed on the agenda is we do have the recorder of deeds scheduled to come in and go over there, adopt the book.
Okay, I believe, I believe that got put off because of the pandemic, I believe. She was supposed to come in earlier, wasn't
Yeah, correct, and it got rescheduled. But since we're going to be in this mode for a while, it looks like I think we're going to work with this virtually.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Schuster. So we'll open it up to public comment for the second round.
Mr. Chairman, there are no other public comments.
Wow. Okay. Must be the heat where everyone's on vacation. Supervisors' comments. I will, who would like to go first?
I'll go first, Mr. Chairman, with your permission.
Go right ahead.
Something I forgot during announcements earlier. I want to give a shout out to our local architecture friend, Matt Piotrowski. The Bucksmont AMVETS reached out to me recently, and they were looking for some assistance to do a drawing for some outdoor seating. They needed to submit to Upper Southampton. I gave Matt a call. He went right over there and took care of them pro bono. I want to thank Matt. That was really good of him to do. That was on behalf of the Bucksmont AMVETS. Thank you, Matt. I also would like to congratulate my son, Jack. He bought himself a home. He's going to be leaving the nest soon. My wife's going to cry for hours and hours when he goes, but congratulations, Jack, and we're looking forward to getting busy sprucing the place up. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mark, and congratulations. It's always nice to see them move out and be successful on their own.
Yes.
So, okay. Anyone else?
I just want to tell everybody to have a nice summer for the next month, and I hope we have some good weather and no more tornadoes and some good summer weather and good outdoor fun, of course, keeping socially distant. I was at the library today, and they were doing a wonderful job keeping people apart, keeping things safe, and they have a very good program there. So I was impressed.
Okay, thank you, Judy. Mary?
Again, to say what Greg had said, thank you to Officer Ando for doing such a great job the other day in protecting the citizens of our township, as well as the awesome job that the rest of our police department does here in Warminster. I'm asking everybody to please continue to support all the local businesses in our township because they're still, needing our support to get through this. And I wish everybody a happy summer till we meet again in August.
Okay,
Stay
thanks,
safe.
Mary. Kathy?
Just want to again say thank you to Officer Anglove. I think he did a really good job. It's a great video too. Hope it's on
Entertaining.
It's very entertaining. And have everybody have a safe summer and just keep practicing the social distancing because we're making it work here in Bucks County. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. And I will continue on that to beat a dead horse. I've been at the shore quite a lot, and it's people are telling me how they're over COVID. I just want to remind everyone that it is real, and it can seriously do serious health effect harm to you. So wear your mask, support your businesses. And I want to thank the police department as well for all their hard work, and everyone else working hard in the township. And have a safe and healthy summer. Thank you. Okay, so with that, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay, so moved. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you in a couple weeks.
Good night.